Right, here we're going to be looking in this study tip, flashcards. You hear them say it all the time. Make a flashcard, make a flashcard. Well, here I'm going to tell you what flashcards are, how you can use them, and the power that they can have, but sometimes the perils and pitfalls that some people fall into. So let's have a look at it. When you remember information, the most basic way that you can remember information is down the bottom of what we call a really big triangle, the understanding or learning triangle that teachers know very well, is you have the recall. Is this recall or remembering? So this is probably the most basic thing that you can do when you learn something new. 2 times 2, 4. Okay, you're just recalling or remembering some basic facts. So you might say recognize, so you might have a picture and it might say, what's this? And you go, cell nucleus. What's that? Gravitational force. So that's just basic recalling and remembering, which is very important for these higher levels. What happens after that? Well, the next level is understanding. So with understanding, do you understand this word you just said, proton? Do you understand what it means? Where's it found? All those sort of things. So understandings come from your summary. So when you summarize a material, you're recalling the information and putting it into some logical context. And so do you understand it? That's the next level. So when someone says to me, because you watch YouTube videos all the time, you're watching one right now, and they go, oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen when you put Mentos in, you get Coke coming up. Yeah, but you can recall what's going to happen. Do you understand why it's happening? Big difference, okay? So the next level in our understanding triangle is understanding, or I should say our learning triangle is understanding. Then we get another one, which is applying the information. So can you use that knowledge in a different way? So can you apply what you understand now? That's a bit harder. Then we go, okay, well, can we analyze it? So can you organize that information into meaningful groups? Right? When you're analyzing information, you're going deeper into the understanding and applying it to different scenarios, and you're analyzing it, organizing it into groups, structuring it, etc. Let's see if we can find a different color. What about evaluating? Evaluating. So you're checking if something conforms to a particular rule. You're hypothesizing. You're putting forward an explanation to sort of, after you've analyzed some data, you're evaluating it and trying to get trends and hypothesizing new results from that trend. And the top is, are you creative? Can you invent something that's new? Can you use your understanding and your all this knowledge to create something new that's never been seen before? So this is our learning, I guess, triangle, all right? Now, where do flashcards fit in? Well, flashcards are down here. So when you make flashcards, most people get a card and they'll write a word on one side, and then on the other side of the card, they might write information about it, okay? So they might say, let's say you're learning the functions of the digestive system. Let's say you just write liver here, and then you write the functions of the liver on the back. But that's pretty limiting, okay? Your flashcards are just recalling what's the function of the liver, right? Where is the liver found? Understanding might be if you like summarize the different roles that the liver plays. Very similar, right? Let's make our flashcards more engaging, more active, and higher ordering. So what can you do? You can ask questions on your flashcards. Ask questions. So you might have a flashcard on one side of the question that says something like, state three reasons why this particular event occurred. So if you're talking about World War, state 3 reasons why World War I occurred, for example, right? So yes, you are just recalling, but you're making it interactive, because with stating, you can use the card with someone else. You can ask then, of course, why questions, which is a little bit more than just recall. Why did this and this happen in this environment, but not in that environment? That's a lot more higher order than just, identify the cell nucleus, identify the cell membrane, okay? So questions are very powerful. You can use pictures with questions. So you might draw a scenario, like something like this if you're doing physics, and you might go, here's a picture. You might say, given this scenario here, will there be movement, and can you calculate the acceleration, right? And so it's like a little question that you could even say is like in an exam. You're trying to stimulate your memory. Can you recall that there's differences in forces, and that those differences in forces are unbalanced, and then there will be motion, and then you take it even further and saying, can you calculate the acceleration? Some flashcards will be like this. You might have a graph, and you might have a question that says, which of the following relationships is illustrated by this graph trend? 1, 2, 3. And then you might even have why, or explain. So with these cards, you're testing yourself, you're testing the recall, but then you're testing trends, and then you're getting yourself to explain. So you start off with some basic flashcards and basic recall, but then up the ante and get you to use them in different ways. Okay? So flashcards are great in recalling information and remembering them, but you can make them more powerful in how you construct them. Not just a word and then writing on the other side. Make them active, make them engaging, put questions on them, put pictures on them. Make them multi-step. Think about flashcards that you could do and create to use with friends. So you give your flashcard to your friend and they can ask you questions about it. The flashcard might be even very powerful where you have to be up here, is where it say, teach me this concept. So let's say you're doing, you find an example of a maths problem. It might be a simple simultaneous equation. And the question is, teach a friend how to solve this. Because teaching is very, very powerful. And you can do that in your own room. So you pick up a flashcard and it says, teach me about gravitational force. You go, okay. So you put it down, you turn to your whiteboard at the back there, and you start teaching. You start teaching yourself, right? I've made another video about the power of combining verbal, auditory, and kinesthetic. That is, that using our hands, using our ears, and using our vocal cords to create sound. When you combine all those three things together, learning becomes more powerful, and hence teaching becomes more powerful. So you can make flashcards that you have to teach someone. Teach your cat, teach your dog, teach your pet gecko. Whatever it is, teaching is very powerful. Now, with flashcards, how you use them, we've talked a little bit about how to create them and make them engaging and make them more higher order. But what about how to use them? Well, you can do a technique which you have them in different piles. And those piles you visit multiple times throughout the week. So you might have all your flashcards here. And then you might spend 2 minutes going through your flashcards, going, yep, so I can remember. Oop, can't remember that one. I'll put it in this pile here, right? So this might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, okay? Well, actually, it might be, yeah, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You put you can't remember into Wednesday, okay? Let's just write that in. So you put your flashcards you can't remember from Monday into Wednesday. Go through. Then you get to Wednesday, you go through your Mondays again just to make sure you've got them. Yep, I can remember all them. No more cards need to go into Wednesday because you're making flashcards all the time. Then you get to Wednesday, then you look at Wednesday cards, and you go, oh, I can't remember that one. I need to put that back into Monday because I need to revise it, right? Oh, I can remember this one. Great, I'll put it in Friday. And then you keep doing that. Then when you get to Friday, you look at Mondays again, right? So I guess the rule is you always look at Mondays, even though it's Friday. So maybe we should call this every day, right? This is the every day. So you put it in there like that. You look at every day, and then you go, okay, well, I'm now on Friday, so these are the ones that I knew previously. Let's see if I still know them. Yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do. Great. If you can still recall them, you've been able to recall them every day and a Wednesday and a Friday, maybe you can have another pile that says 1 week away, right? So you put these and you don't look at them for another week. But the ones that you get wrong here, you put them back into the everyday pile. So what you're doing is you're systematically studying the ones that you don't know the most. You're not studying all your 3,000 flashcards. You're studying the ones that you don't know the most. You're having a quick little look just to categorize them every day. Yep, 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 yep. Oop. So the ones that go, yep, you put them into the Wednesday or the Friday, right? Don't know, don't know. Then these are sitting here for a couple of days, all right? And then you go, and then you work your way along, and you're constantly moving them backwards and forwards. And so you are revising the ones that you don't know the most every day, the ones that you do know every couple of days, and the ones that you know really, really well weekly. And then after a while, you probably find those weekly ones can just go back into a long-term pile because you know them down pat. And so you're categorizing how you use your flashcards, and you're not going through your whole pack all the time or at random. You're actually being what's called strategic. You're actually looking at the ones that you don't know the most and getting your head around those. And then the ones that you do know, you're looking at them more infrequently. So you're putting them more into the longer term memory. And that's sort of one technique that you can use to use your flashcards. And when you get good at it, right, you will be able to manage your time a lot better. In fact, this is what your teachers do all the time in class, right? The next lesson that they see you, they test to see if you remember from the lesson before, okay? But you can do the same thing at home with your flashcards and your study techniques. So if you combine frequency and strategic frequency, that is being clever in how you look at your flashcards, together with improving the way you make your flashcards, flashcards become quite a powerful technique, right? They're not just go make a flashcard on every single point in your study notes, right? You got to be more smarter and cleverer than that, and work to engage yourself, to engage your mind into making flashcards and then using them strategically. And you're not going to use flashcards forever, because you know, once you know this information, you need to apply it, you need to analyze it, you need to draw it together with other bits of information, not just keep remembering, because you already know it, okay? I'll give you one story to finish. Something that I came across when I was at uni. I came across a study technique like this that worked for me, that combines everything I'm saying in these study tips about frequency, how I study, using pictures, using verbal, teaching my cat, etc., etc., etc. And the information was in my head. I could recall it like this. All right, and so I loved exams. So that gave me a positive mindset, which reinforced the success, right? But I had a friend who made notes and notes and notes and notes, right? He would come before an exam and he'll have a massive, big, thick book. He'd have flashcards, and I would test him. And he'd do well, but as soon as I closed the book, he couldn't recall it. He was relying on the flashcards, or relying on what he saw as a visual cue to help him remember it. So when that was gone, he couldn't do it. And so when he got into the exam, he found it really hard, because in the exam there's not his flashcards, they're not his books he could look at. But the way I studied, by talking, using auditory, using kinesthetic, which is using your hands, remember, by using listening and hearing sounds, the frequency, how I use flashcards, drawing things, all that meant it went into the back of my head, and so I knew it. I could recall it really quickly, and I could apply it and put concepts together that are unfamiliar, not just recall basic facts. So this is what I want you guys to do. Realize that how you learn it makes a big impact on your performance. All right, hope that all makes sense to you. Good luck on making flashcards. We'll see if I make some more videos on actually making a flashcard, but hopefully you're going to try and make your flashcards more active, with questions that say draw this, describe this, talk to someone about that, have pictures, etc., and how you revise them makes a big key. Anyway, I'll see you in the next study tip video. Have fun with it.